Dun, 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 dun. That never gets old. What's up, everybody? My name is Kyle. I am with Poseidon's Pets. Today we are doing a live stream, and I am showing you shrimp. So I hope everybody is doing well. I am not doing well. I am sick again. So not feeling the greatest, but that is okay. I will try not to cough in all of your ears. You just have to listen to my smoker's voice. So I hope everybody's doing great. Hope you guys are having a good week or beginning of the week. But today we are going to be hanging out. We are going to be talking about shrimp, answering questions, and just enjoying the chat. So let's see who we got in here so far. Looks like we got Jamie. Jamie says, Kyle, who? Kyle with Poseidon's Pets. I gotta remind you. Then we got Zoltan. How are you, Zoltan? Welcome. Beta Aquatics, welcome to the stream. All right, let's go ahead and do an emoji bomb for all of our members. So thank you guys so much for being members and sticking with us. Have some shrimp emojis. Jamie says, you sound like someone from a Dr. Seuss cartoon. I don't get the reference. Yeah, so we are streaming on Mondays at 5 o'clock for the next 2 Mondays. So this Monday and next Monday. And then I should be going back to my normal, my normal Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'll be able to stream on Wednesdays next month, but we'll see how it goes. We'll play it by ear. But I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things and be streaming for you guys every week. I almost put it off today just because it's kind of hard to talk, but I know I've been spotty with my live streams, and I don't want to do that to you guys. I know I have no obligations to jump on here and hang out with you, but I like to be consistent, and I know you guys like hanging out too. So I don't want to deprive anybody of me. I don't want you to be deprived of my lovely voice. Timothy, hello, sir. Crypt Keeper Aquatics, how are you? So I will give a shameless plug here. I have updated the website, and I put all kinds of new stuff on there. So I've been stuck at home, not feeling well the last couple of days, and I kind of went on a design spree. So I just started designing a bunch of stuff, and it was about the only thing I could do with feeling productive while trying to take it easy. Because the worst thing with me being sick is I can't sit still. Oh, there goes the pellet. We're about to have no shrimp in the feeding dish. They just took the pellet. I can't sit still. Even when I'm homesick, running a fever, like I feel like I have to be doing something. And that's probably why I get sick, is because I don't know how to stop. I just keep going. But while I was not feeling well, I decided to jump on the computer and create a bunch of stuff, which I got one of them over here. I'm going to grab it real quick. So I've got a couple fish tanks in the shrimp room, and I've been watching them while I hang out. And I decided, I'm like, hey, these fish, they could really use like a little hide. So I made these little hides. This one's like the coconut shells, but if you got small convicts that like little caves, I thought this would be perfect. So I made these for the fish in the shrimp room, and since I designed them, I threw them up on the website. I'm only asking a couple bucks for them, not expensive. They print a little rough, so it's not a perfect design for the printer, but they turned out all right. So I've been having some fun. Let's catch up on chat here. Looks like we got a few people in here. Beta Aquatics joined, Tim joined, Select Pet, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Beta Aquatics says, cool for Epistos. Yeah, I actually created them for my platinum parrots. So I have some platinum polar convicts or platinum polar parrotfish, whatever you want to call them. It's a hybrid of a convict and a parrot cichlid. So they look pretty cool. Convicts were one of my favorite fish growing up. So I had convicts when I was younger. I had live bears, and convicts were one of my favorites. Just watching them spawn and breed like rabbits, it was always fun to watch them like move the rocks around and create their little nests. Oh, look at that! That tangerine tiger brought the food back for everyone. That was so nice of him. So uh, I decided I was like, yeah, you know what? Those little parrots need a little cave. So I made like 3 or 4 of these. I made 3 designs, but I slapped them all in there. This one's for Ryan because I showed him the one I made, and he's like, you should make one like a coconut shell. So I made this one. So that one's for Ryan. Whenever I see him next, he can have this one. I don't think they need as many caves as I have in there. Thanks for throwing everything up there, Tim. I appreciate it. So I am running on. I don't feel well. I'm going to do my best. If you can't understand me, I'm sorry. I'm running a Memorial Day sale on the website. So 15% off on everything. I've got new shrimp up there. We've got new designs. So all kinds of stuff. Betta says, love the Cape, Kyle. Thank you, thank you. Select Pet. I've been half wanting a 3D printer for a while, but I know so little about them and figured I would break it somehow. Hey, I haven't broke mine yet, so that's a plus. Select Pet says people think I'm crazy for liking convicts. I currently have 6 of the 9 species in their genus. Now I got to do more research. Yeah. So you're gonna make me. You're gonna make me look into convicts now, aren't you? Memorial Day is not for 2 weeks, so this is a 2-week long sale. So this goes on for quite a while. So 15% off until the 29th. So we're gonna see discounts for a while. I got a YouTube ad running, so or a Facebook ad. So we'll be seeing that 15% off for a while. Fish family, what's going on, Matt? How are you? Welcome to the stream. After Tim posted that link and I said there was a sale, the viewers dropped from 13 to 7. Everybody's rushing over to the website to check it out. Either that or me being sick and sounding weird made everybody leave. So this tank is getting even more interesting. I know last stream I talked to you guys about some of the projects and stuff that I'm working on and how I've got a lot of content for you. So one of the projects I'm working on is I took a lot of shrimp out of this coal tank because they had specific colors and patterns. So you'll notice that there's a lacking of certain color in this tank. So I set up a tank for those shrimp to kind of cross them all together and see what we get for those certain types. So right now in this tank, we have a few crystal shrimp, and it looks like they're not full crystals. You can see they're starting to get they're just taking those pellets all over. It's fast food. They're starting to get like that tiger pattern. So they look more like some low grade fancy black tigers or some fancy red tigers. Start to see more of those stripes on there, but a lot of them are just simply either tangerine tigers that came out of my Aura Green or my Green Apple Serrata tank, or they are no, that's it. So yeah, those all came out of my Green Apple tank. So they were just more yellow than green. So they had more of the tangerine tiger than the Aura Blue genes in there. Betta says guilty browsing. It's like Pet says they left when they saw Matt. Yeah, so this tank's pretty cool. I need to add some more color into it though. It's getting a little orange with all the tiger genes. Oh, look at that little female right up front. She got her first berries. Aww. Baby's first smuggled berries. Jamie says, I put an assassin snail in my tiger tank to help with the snails. Had 12 shrimp. That was a week ago. Now I have 2 tigers and no empty snail shells. So, did your assassin snail eat the tigers? What happened there? If you have a male and female, you can start over. It'll be pretty quick, I'm sure. Yeah, it looks like that one in the back there. So I got a new phone and it doesn't autofocus. So the one thing with StreamYard, with streaming with StreamYard, is it does not autofocus the camera, which is absolutely annoying because the iPhone 14 has 3 cameras to choose from, and it all depends on what is in frame and what the camera is trying to focus on. So for the most part, it's trying to focus on the background, not the little tiny shrimp. So I slapped my macro lens on there, but it's only giving us this, small view of clarity. It doesn't look bad. It's not a terrible shot, but at the same time, it's like I know my camera could do so much more. I know it could do so much better. I may just have to bite the bullet and pay for StreamYard or something because it's just not looking good. I told you I was going to try not to cough on you. Tim says, Jamie, according to the Garden of Eden, assassins won't eat shrimp. I will tell you, if they get hungry enough and your shrimp are slow enough, they will absolutely eat your shrimp. They do not discriminate. It's like Pet says, my blue dreams and assassin snails get along. They team up and attack bladder and ram's horn snails. It's the craziest thing seeing them hunt together. That's awesome. JP says, something happened. I had those tigers for a while. So the thing with snails is snails can carry bacteria and parasites to shrimp. So there's a chance that you transferred something from the snails to the shrimp. There's a lot of buried females in this tank. It's crazy. So this tank has struggled and then does well and then struggled and does well. I'm hoping that I've got the balance of it out. I stopped doing water changes on it. The nitrates are fine. I've just been topping off, and I'll do a TDS water change, so like a couple cups. I'll take like 16 ounces out and then add pure RO just to drop that TDS down. But I've got a canister filter on it. I've got all these plants in there. I put pothos in the top of it, so I'm hoping that I can just run this tank with no water changes because it's been one of those problem tanks ever since I got it. But it's doing good now, which is good. Rob, how are you, sir? Welcome to the stream. All right, now that we got a few more people in here, go ahead and emoji bomb for all the members. You guys are awesome. I definitely appreciate all your support, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there while I took my break. I know it's easy to cancel the membership while I'm not streaming, but I definitely appreciate everybody who stuck around and everybody who decided to, stick with the membership. You guys are awesome, and Rob's awesome too. It's like Pet says, I've seen snails carry planaria from one tank to another. I know some people debate if planaria are harmful, but if snails can move that, I'm sure they can move other stuff too. Absolutely. Yeah, I took giant ram's horns. I had not even the giant ram's horn breed, but I had regular like pink, purple ram's horn snails in my pond get this big. So I was like, you know what? I'll drop those in the 25 or the 20-gallon Neo tank. They'll be fine. Started seeing flatworms, all kinds of flatworms, like huge flatworms too. But it wasn't planaria. It was probably just rab. But they were the biggest rab I've ever seen. These guys were the size of planaria, almost a half an inch. But they didn't make it very long. They didn't last in that tank. I didn't have to treat anything. It's just a different environment from the pond. So they didn't make it. The snails held on for a little bit, but they didn't make it either. It's funny how you can have just like this environment of the snails thriving outside in the pond, and then you bring them inside to a cleaner tank, and they just can't handle it. They're like, "Where's my dirty pond water? I can't do this anymore." Tim says, "I had a card expire. I'll join back up when I get replacement in the mail." So here's the thing, guys. I don't get notified when people join. I don't get notified when you cancel your membership. I don't see it. So unless I'm physically looking at chat to see if you're a member, I don't notice. I'm not keeping track of you guys. I'm not too worried about it. I don't go in there and look and see like, oh, so and so canceled their membership, and I appreciate it nonetheless. When you can do it, that's great. I do it for the emojis because it's fun. I like to have all the emojis that we can share. So the more members I get, the more emojis that I can create, and that's the main thing. Like the monetary side of it, I appreciate it, and it does help fuel the shrimp room. But I don't want you guys, stretching your last dollar to pay for my membership. If you can't do it, you can't do it. I will never give you a hard time over it. But don't ever think that I'm sitting there like keeping track of you guys and making sure you're still subscribed. But I will say YouTube does like to cancel your memberships randomly, because I know there's a couple of them I had where I'm like, I'm not a member anymore, and like Tim said, if his card expired, then that's one thing that'll happen. But I've had them cancel my memberships for no reason. I wonder if it's when they change their agreements or if the user changes things. But it's funny. But yeah, I'll never give any of you guys a hard time for dropping out of a membership. I appreciate it, and it's fun. I just like sharing the emojis. You get fun ones like these. I just thought it was fun to make my own emojis, and then we could share it with each other. But yeah, thank you to everybody out there who is a member. Thank you to all you guys for your supports. And like Tim says, to enable use of shrimp emojis, click here and join membership. Thank you, Tim. CP, how are you? Welcome to the stream. All right, so this is a Q&A. Does anybody have a question for me, or I can continue to ramble on random topics? I can do that. I have been known to ramble a time or two in my day. Tim Park, how are you? Welcome to the stream. How are the shrimp doing for you? I think you got the red wines, I believe. Excuse me. Oh. This cough is driving me crazy. Tim says, thanks. Great. So I just ordered 2 more bags of substrate for the shrimp room. My goal is to have a nice thick layer, so that way I can attempt at creating a colony of anaerobic bacteria. So the reason for this is denitrification. So nitrification, creating nitrate with the nitrogen cycle, but denitrification is where we break down nitrates into I can't remember the end of the cycle, if it turns into nitrogen gas and just off gases. I can't remember, but anaerobic bacteria live in dead zones or oxygen deprived areas like a deep substrate bed. This is why my 60 gallon has about 5 inches or so. I think that's about 5 inches, right? About 5 inches or so of sand, because what that does is it helps to give a spot for those anaerobic bacteria colonies to thrive and help to break down nitrates. This is an old school method of homeostasis in a tank to prevent having to do water changes. So the less water changes you have to do, the less fluctuations you have, the less stress on your shrimp, the longer they can live, the best life possible. So lots of plants and denitrifying bacteria. That is the goal here. And I spoke with Carrick Payton for a good while a few months ago, and that was one thing that he talked about and how he felt was very beneficial was his deep substrate beds. And I feel like that he's onto something, and I wanted to test it out and see. And worst case scenario, I've got a lot of substrate in my tanks to continue to buffer them for a long time without having to reset. Looks like Tim has a question for us. He says, "What is a lesson you had to learn the hard way in shrimp keeping?" That every TDS pin in the world is garbage and they will fail you at some point, sometime. Do not put your trust and faith in a TDS pin. Get yourself a GH and KH test and test frequently if you start to see issues. Test your RO water as you remineralize, because that was the issue I had when resetting the shrimp room. My TDS pen said one thing, but I'm over here nuking my tanks with 7 and 8 GH. So I was over mineralizing my tanks because I thought my TDS pen was accurate. So normally I would remineralize to about 110, 120, and I'd be good. I'd be at like 4, 5, and come to find out, I was closer to 7, 8. So all of my tanks started to crash, and I lost shrimp, and everybody was struggling, and I'm over here thinking like, what is happening? And then finally I figure it out, and I'm like, I'm so dumb. So that's one thing I would say is don't trust your TDS pen. Use your TDS pen as a rough guide to make sure nothing's wrong. And to give you an idea of this, so I remineralize all of my water. I weigh my minerals. It's all the same every time. And my TDS pen is right around like 100. So like 95, 100, we're good there. And that gives me a GH of like 4 to 5. So when my RO system failed, I tested the water after remineralization, and it was 400 TDS. So that is what I mean by use it as a good guide. It's not going to be 100% accurate for your GH, but it's going to tell you if something went drastically wrong, and that's a good thing to know. It's a good test to make sure that your RO water is at 0 and that your remineralized water is about where you need it to be. But I wouldn't trust those pins 100%. I don't even care if you have an expensive one or if you calibrate it. They're not the greatest. It's a rough number for sure. I remember me and Jamie were texting back and forth, like trying to find a control to test the pin. Like, okay, if you take 8 ounces of water and drip 4 drops of prime, this is my TDS. Now, what did you get? Okay, I'm way off. So my pen is just foobar. This is not good. And so I appreciate his help on that one. But that's one thing I will say is don't trust your TDS pen. They're garbage. They're all garbage. You're nothing but garbage. You'll always be garbage. You'll be nothing more. Tim Park says the wife keeps buying more. Well, that's what shrimp is for. Hey, I got a sale on the website if you need more. All right, Select Pet, what you got? Okay, start folks off with questions. Do you see planaria as a problem? And if so, what's your preferred method to eliminate it? I have never had planaria in my tanks. I have had rab. I think I might have had one planaria at one point, and I usually just go straight for the fenbendazole. But planaria are like snails. I don't have snail outbreaks. I don't have large flatworm outbreaks, regardless of what type. Planaria, rab, detritus worms. I don't have large outbreaks because I don't overfeed. That is the biggest thing that most people are doing is overfeeding. If you have a planaria outbreak and large amounts of planaria, you are feeding way, way too much. I feed a pellet of food, and like when I say a pellet, I mean like a tiny bit of food once. I skip 2 days. I feed spinach. I skip 2 days. I feed a pellet. I skip 2 days, and then I feed spinach. So I feed every 3 days or so. So I skip 2 days and then I feed, and I alternate between pellets and fresh spinach. And I feed a powder food every other day, every 2 days, occasionally. I supplement the powdered food when I remember, because a lot of times I'll be like, okay, I'll feed the powdered food before bed. Okay, I'll feed the powdered food when I get up. And I've got 30 tanks, so just pouring a little bit of powder in the tank, it's about a 20-minute activity. And when I'm dead tired for the end of the day, it's not something I want to do. So I would like to say I do it every other day because that helps to create the microflora and fauna in your tank, as well as helps to feed baby shrimplets. It just keeps the tank overall healthier. But if you overdo it, you're going to see a lot of nitrates. You're going to have to do more water changes. So I try not to feed too much. But that is what I would say is the cause of planaria. Now the correction, a lot of people use beech nut, like no planaria. I know Tim has had a adverse side effect of this where it wiped some of his shrimp. I've seen too many people struggle with beech nut killing shrimp. So I think fenbendazole is a safe solution. I haven't had any issues with it. I've heard other people have issues with it, but I've never had it kill a tank. And I don't full dose it. I do 0.1 grams per 10 gallons, I think is my dosage. So it's either 0.1 grams per gallon or 0.1 grams per 10 gallons. Either way, it's a minute amount. And I buy I buy the dog dewormer kind. So the fenbendazole I buy is for dogs, and it's only 30% fenbendazole, so it's a lower dose in general. To where if you get like fish bendazole is what they call it. It's a brand, fish bendazole. That's 100% fenbendazole, and if you dose that at the dosage I use, you're going to nuke your tank because that is 100% higher grade fenbendazole. To where what I use is less strength. It's like 30%. It's super light of a dose. So it's just enough to kind of stop whatever's in the tank from doing what it's doing. I've used this for hydra. I've used it for what I thought was planaria, and I haven't really seen any issues. So that's my go-to. Select Pet says nitrate denitrification turns into nitrogen gas as bacteria pulls oxygen off the nitrate. There you go. See, I know stuff. Nitrogen gas just then combines with surface air. That's why if you've ever been digging in the bottom of a tank with a deep substrate, it smells like eggs. Fish Fam says, hey, Fish Fam, show some love with a thumbs up if you're enjoying the live. Sketty Nona, how are you? Welcome to the stream. We'll get back to chat real quick. Sultan. Rob says, I dip my TDS pin in 3 or 4 tanks before I make my water change to make sure it didn't whack out. That's a good way. Yeah, those pens, I'm telling you. Tim says, I had a similar conversation with someone a few days ago. Don't trust the TDS pen, never. Sultan, yep, TDS pen works to adjust your water, change water. Jamie says, that's why I have 2 TDS pens and 3 pH pens. I've got 3 TDS pens, and all of them give different readings. They're all within 15 points of each other, so I just go off of the one because I know what that one is supposed to be. Shark Pen says, hi, y'all. Welcome to the stream, Shark Pen. Sultan says, I think the best is to get the planaria trap. That's going to be the safest option, but not 100% effective. Sketty says, I use my TDS pen all the time for temperature. Tim says, no planaria spiked ammonia, killed one shrimp. After heavy water change, they sprang back and ammonia stayed good. I thought it wiped out more than one shrimp. That's good that you only lost one. Maybe they were all just acting weird, is what I remember. That was a while ago. All right, let's see. What's today? Today is Monday. I just fed the rest of the tanks. I was going to move the camera for you guys, but I just fed the rest of the tanks yesterday. Trying to think if there's a tank I can double feed on. That's okay. We'll just watch the few shrimp that are in this dish. All right, who's got another question for me? I don't know if I'll make it the whole hour. It's hurting to talk. But we'll go as long as I can. The more questions you give me, the more I don't think about it. Nice, man. Looks like one of my parrots maybe getting ready to mate. They dug out all the gravel at one side and I kind of looking like they're gonna lay some eggs for me. Tim says, which colony is your current favorite? So right now it is my Black Galaxy fish bones. I have them split up into 2 tanks. I just transferred about 20 males, I think. I transferred about 20 males to another tank, and that's my grow out tank. So I kept almost all the females, regardless of color, in the main tank. Sorry. So I kept all the females in the main tank and took the males out, and I put 2 of the nicest looking males that I found back in there. So I was able to, separate out a lot of those males. And the grow out tank, the way I've been doing it is, if a female berries up, she goes back into the main tank. So if any of those males happen to be female and they berry up, they'll go back into the main tank. And this is just a way to ensure the maximum amount of babies, maximum amount of survival rate. And then I can kind of pick and choose the colony from there, and I can start a new tank if I want to by taking, a bunch of juveniles with the same patterns that I want and adding those to another tank. So I'm really liking how those guys are looking, and they're looking really nice. I'll have to grab a picture for you guys. All right, so there is no shrimp in the feeding dish, so we are going to remove that. And I am actually going to go to my website because I want to show off some of the stuff I made. It isn't me trying to sell you stuff. I just had a lot of fun creating these things, and I want to share with you guys. We are going to share our screen and tab this one. Chrome tab. This one there. Share. How's that look? You guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. Okay. So I now have Cholla wood on the website. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. Okay. And Java moss, as well as I put some more shrimp on there. So I've got my black backline tie bees on there, some low grade black fancy tiger shrimp. This colony, they look nice, but they're not the greatest. They've got some washed out black. They've got the stripes aren't very dark, and then the white is kind of faded as well. So you can see that they're not the highest grade. They don't look terrible by any means. They definitely need some work. They definitely need some culling. So that was where I kind of stated that, you know, this is a great beginner colony for someone who wants to start with a more basic line and selectively breed some stunners over time. Because this tank has potential. These guys have potential. It's just they're not the greatest right now. But that's okay because they could be better. And then I've got my green apples on there. So these are a cross between a tangerine tiger and a aura blue serrata, and you can see that they've got they got some blue hint to them, some green hint to them. Same with the low grade black fancy tigers. This colony does need some work. I would like to add some more aura blue genes back in there, but it definitely needs some more culling. It needs a watchful eye to where I kind of just throw them in the tank. I really haven't been culling. I haven't really been, focusing too much on the project. But I think adding in some more aura blue genes, we could really get that green color to come out. Cora, welcome to stream. How are you? And then, so this tank that we've been watching, my mixed Caridina shrimp, it's a lot of tiger hybrids. So either Caridina serrata or Caridina maryi hybrids. You can see here. Look at those pretty hybrids. So definitely some tiger genes in there, almost like a low grade black fancy. And then a lot of tank ties. I actually just lost this female, this large one. I lost her the other day. It was tough to see, but she was old. So I got the mixed Caridina on there, and then of course my crystals. I've been breeding these guys for a long time. They look pretty solid. They're decent. They got some of them with some brown, light colored, black body, but for the most part they're solid white, solid colors. And there's the occasional one that's not the greatest quality, but this quality is looking really nice. And I'm not asking for a bunch for them. It's $6 a piece, something like that. And then with Tim's help, we designed the new shrimp feeding tray 2.0. So this here has a little lip or edge that you shove into the substrate, so that way large snails don't, break it away from the glass and push it all over. And then I am giving away my powdered food scoops. So if you place an order, make sure you add one of these on there. I'm not asking for any money, so I did ask, like, hey, please don't order more than one or two. They're an easy print, but I don't want to print 50 of these guys, especially when I'm not charging for them. So if you order more than two, you're only going to get two. I'm not going to send you more than that. Now, this was something I saw somebody else had, and I was super excited to make. They are sponge filter moss ledges. So it fits right over the top of the dual sponge filter. It's got this little lip that fits over the top of it. You see that? And then you just attach moss to it. So those were cool. I was excited to make that. And then I also made them for the large sponge filters. I made it for the large ones. I made it for the large sponge filters too. So these are pretty cool. I was excited to work on this and create it. It only took two prototypes. The first prototype I printed just didn't work out very well. But you put this over the uplift tube, and then you can attach moss. I cannot speak. You attach moss to it before you put it on the uplift tube. The only thing I would suggest is after tying the moss is I need more notches, because it didn't hold very well. If you were doing a smaller moss than Sabwassertang, it wouldn't. I don't have enough touch points, so I need to put more notches in it. But besides that, it was a solid print, a good Mark 1 or Mark 2. And then you can see my platinums, my little platinum parrots. These guys are so much fun. So small fish cave, half coconut shape. And they're really liking it. They're enjoying these little caves. So I got the half coconut. I made this like oval shaped one, which I liked this design because it's a little bit wider and taller, so they have more room in there. And then the little egg shape This was my first design, and it's kind of a weird shape. I don't know why I made that shape, but might have been because I was sick. And it looks like a cone head helmet. It was a little fever induced while I was making that. And then of course I finally got the shrimp lolly holders on there. So I made a couple designs. I've got a pyramid and then I've got the star. And these are really cool because they just use compression to fit the lolly holder in there. It's a bamboo skewer that is tapered, and then the hole is smaller at the bottom. So when you shove it in there, it uses compression to keep it in place. But we got the pyramid, and then we got the star, and they're both the same price, $2. They're not expensive. But those guys are really cool. I tried them out this weekend, and they worked fantastic. And of course, Java Moss. But that's all the new stuff on the website. So definitely had fun this weekend, building some stuff and creating it. And actually, Friday, I'm going to release a video of me creating those fish caves. So I recorded the process, the design to the print to the final product. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of share my creative process and how things go. Let's see. Looks like Ryan just joined. Hey, Ryan, how are you? Look, Ryan, I got something for you. I got your coconut hide. Tim says, I want that sponge filter moss ledge. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I could print 3 at a time, and they're a little rough when you print multiple, but it's about a 3-hour print. It's not too bad. Zoltan's doing it old school. Said I stuck some moss on my sponge filter and it's growing crazy. Yeah, it'll do that for sure. Coro says, do you have any substrate caves? I've seen the ones that use the tank as a wall so you can peek into the cave. Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. I haven't made any myself, but it's probably something I could do. I don't like disturbing the substrate too much, so that could be my own bias for not wanting to do something like that. If you're putting it into like a brand new tank, then I don't see the issue, but I don't want to create something and then have somebody, put it inside their tank and then cause a nitrate spike or an ammonia spike because they disturbed the substrate. So I try to stay away from stuff like that. I was even apprehensive about putting the little fin on the feeding trays because I don't like going into the substrate. I don't like stirring things up. I don't like lifting plants out because that's when bacterial infections happen. And I try not to disturb the substrate in shrimp tanks. And since a lot of my stuff is geared towards shrimp, I don't want to have to put that disclaimer on it. Ryan says, haha, awesome. Yeah, before you got in, I was telling everybody that, this one's yours because you told me to print it for you. Hey, that's the perks of, being my friend and living close. You don't have to buy things. I just give you stuff for free. Or if you're my friend online and you place an order, I usually just send you a bunch of stuff like, hey, I've got extra of these. Here you go. I'm too nice. Like if I was to have a storefront, I'd be giving stuff away. All the little kids would be coming in. I'd be a sucker. I'd be giving fish away. I'd be setting up tanks for free. But that's the kind of stuff that people spread the word about. I'm too nice sometimes, so that's why I do this as a hobby. The website just pays for my shrimp. This is. Anything I sell, it goes towards my addiction. Your addiction fuels my addiction. It works for everybody. It's a win-win here, people. You don't see that? All right. Q&A is the theme for today's stream. So I have the A. Do you have the Q? That sounded terrible. Sultan, didn't miss a beat. Good job. So what shrimp have I had the longest? So my brain instantly thinks of the individual shrimp, and I've lost a lot of my older ones that I keep track of. But I don't think you're being that literal. So the oldest colony I have is my crystals. So my black and red crystals, those were the first Caridina shrimp that I got. Now, my second Caridina shrimp tank was the Aura Blue Serrata and the Tangerine Tiger. So my green apples would be my second oldest. And let's see, what did I do after that? And then I got red calcios and dragon bloods and blue bolts with Taiwan bees. And I don't have any more of the Black King Kong extremes. Those have all gone to the wayside. A lot of my shrimp were crossbreeding projects that ended up in the cold tank. They either didn't do well or I got tired of it and they ended up being cold. But my oldest colonies are the green apples and the crystal shrimp, which aren't too exciting, but they're not terrible either. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I didn't even highlight your comment. Sorry. Matt says, so glad to have this stream and the fish fan community being here. Absolutely. I appreciate all of you guys. You know, without you in here, without you coming in and talking, it wouldn't be a stream. I can't do this without you. I could pick a topic and ramble, but it's nice to have the interaction and feel like, you know, somebody's listening, because it's not the same if you're just sitting there. And you know, I've been doing this a while, and I've streamed for like one or two people, and it's nice, but having more people in here and having the chat going, it's nice to have, you know, someone to talk to. So Tim says, any updates to your crossbreed projects? More information to come with that one, Tim. So my green apples are the OG crossbreeds, which they're doing pretty good. They need Aura Blues. I need to bite the bullet, order some Aura Blues to make that colony better, because right now they're too Tang Tai heavy, which is going to happen because Tangerine Tiger genes are very prolific. They will take over whatever you put Tangerine Tigers into a tank, and you're going to have nothing but Tangerine Tigers in there. That's just what happens. My Black King Kong strain and my Orange Red Blue Tigers, all the Orange Red Blue Tigers died. So I have a couple Black King Kong extremes, which are in a new breeding project. More information to come there. I transferred some more Dragon Bloods into the Black Devil tank. So we reset that project, and now we're just waiting. So future project ideas, though, my Red Stripe Serrata tank is doing fabulous. I have tons of Red Stripe Serratas. They just got their new tank. They're in a 10-gallon now instead of the 5-gallon because they were doing so well. I probably got close to 50 pure blood Red Stripe Serratas. So they are breeding true Tangerine Tiger body with those red stripes. I have 2 Orange Eye Red Devils left, and they are pumping out babies for me as fast as they can, which isn't fast enough. I want to cross the Tangerine or the Red Stripe Serratas with the Orange Eye Red Devils. I want to see what happens. So I'm curious on what will happen if I cross the Red Stripe Serratas with those Orange Eye Red Devils, because they're both red. So I'm thinking we might get like some Orange Eye Red Tiger type shrimp, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Excuse me. Tim says, which one was from Lucky Aquatics? Recall a video on it, but can't remember what they sent you for it. So Shelly sponsored a tank, and that was the Orange Eye Black Devil Blue Dragon Blood crossbreeding project. So that was shortly after my ADA tanks were set up, and my ADA tanks just did not do well. My Nanashi tank crashed. The only tank that had ADA soil in it that did decent was my Blue Bolt Extreme. So the Blue Bolt Extremes took off. They did great. They didn't breed for a long time, but all of a sudden they just took off. The Nanashis crashed. I got down to like 4, and now they're breeding back up again. I've got tons of babies in there. And then the Orange Eye Black Devils, that tank crashed. So I had 4 or 5 Orange Eye Black Devils left, and then I had 2 Blue Dragon Bloods in the tank. So I took the Dragon Bloods out, I added them to my Dragon Bloods that I had, and then I tried to breed the Orange Eye Black Devils back up, but they just weren't doing anything. Nothing was happening. They would bury up, they would drop their eggs. So finally, I added a bunch of Brightwell soil to the tank to kind of reset it, and I noticed that they started breeding again. So I added 6 more Dragon Bloods back to it. So we basically reset that crossbreeding project, and I haven't really seen anything from it. There's no buried females. I've got some juveniles that don't have any orange eyes, so who knows? It's going to take some time, but I've been recording the processes. So once I have something to update, then I'll create a video for it. But right now it's just boring. It's not doing anything. It's kind of frustrating because you'll have tanks that just breed and do well, and then the tanks that like are fun and you want to see the outcome, like they just don't do anything. So I'm hoping that something happens here soon, but it's been really boring. At least with the other crossbreeding projects, it's not fun when they're not breeding. It's not a cross tank experiment. It's a cross breeding experiment. So when none of your shrimp are breeding, you're not really doing anything. I would like to focus more on more. What's the word I'm thinking? More precise breeding. So grab 3 females and a male. So that way I know, like, okay, I know for 100% that these 3 females are this type of shrimp, but then this male is this type of shrimp. So no matter what, I'm getting a cross. Like these guys are going to cross. So I've been looking at getting like different breeder boxes, kind of like what Carrick has, to do different breeding stuff like that. So that way I could throw like, okay, I'm going to throw this male in here, and then we're going to see what happens. But it's crossbreeding's fun, but when you have a tank that nothing's happening, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. All right. Well, I know Grant is gearing up for his big 5,000 subscriber giveaway. And, that's what Zoltan just said. So congrats to Grant and Shelby. They work so hard, and I'm excited for them to get out of the terrible state of Florida, and I hope everything goes well for them. And if you want to go win some stuff, go check out the Garden of Eater. Go tell them that I sent you. But they are doing a big giveaway today for their 5,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone. I'm super, super excited for them. So go check them out. That's the stream right there. Thanks, Tim. But I thank you guys so much for coming in and hanging out with me and talking with me. I'm surprised I made the whole hour. My throat's on fire, but definitely appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Bye. Goodbye.